I'll start this by talking about January. January 13th, I wrote to myself that I want to live earnestly and not too seriously. I was quoting the book, The Courage to be Disliked. The philosopher told his student/comrade, let's dance in the earnest moments of here and now and live in earnest. Do not look at the past and do not look at the future. There is no need to compete with anyone, and one has no use for destinations. As long as you're dancing, you will get somewhere. So January, I spent a lot of time with wisdom, like what that was in Kwanzaa, and reflecting on that. And I'm a doctoral student, like, of course, come on, philosophy, And I feel like Tai Chi allowed me to access a certain wisdom that books and articles and tenured professors at school don't always allow you to do. And on the 27th, I was doing a Tai Chi like every other day type session, and I'm trying to wrap that up this month. But 27th of January, from my notes app, I wrote, we lose our center because we are looking for something we think we don't have. And 31 January, I wrote, I do believe that the new realities will be born when you stop taking the easy way out, when you stop acting on fear and take courage and love. This ain't a field trip, and not everyone is going with you. And just like a field trip, there's folks who ain't packed their lunch, bring the sunscreen, bug spray, lip balm, hat, etc. I'm not saying don't share and try to keep folks on the up and up, but you had this permission slip signed for a reason. You're out here for a reason. You engaged in all the 9 yards for a reason. And now you say your hands are tied, don't have, can't do, won't say anything about what you may or may not need or forgot. It's not responsible. Stop acting like you're out here without a purpose, like someone else was supposed to tie your shoes before you tripped and fell. Wake up. And I was like, I guess just being reminded of the way like our moms would tug off the sheets, and like you set your alarm too. Not only that, like you try to prepare yourself, and there's someone else that like it's reminding you that you prepared yourself and calling your name to like wake up. And also, like I wrote, when it gets hard, don't forget to breathe. Train your brain to breathe. Does that fit? I'm sure it does. But that's January, and I feel like it makes room for February. And I wrote like a list on Substack, like what I found rich about February. Reading We Refuse by Kelly Carter Jackson, reading Negroes with Guns by Robert F. Williams, learning more about writing proper book reviews, revising well for an exam in amphibian ecology and conservation, meeting up with friends for a Galentine's event, finishing a fitness challenge I started, prayer, things like that. And then on the 20th of February, I noted, stay locked in. They need folk that can connect everything. They're not connecting everything. Take that as you will. But I just want to briefly be like, what did I like about February? There's a skate night that I had with friends, and it was like just us 4 black girls, like us together. Like there were other people around, but roller skating just felt flying that night. Like I was working on my rhythm, my flow, and like I'm very much a beginner roller skater. And to remember, like, head up, chest up, keep your feet under you, tighten your core, lower your center of gravity, bend your knees, but also try to look up. Like, that's a lot. And my friend had grabbed my hands and was just like, do you trust me? Like, just don't move your legs. And like proceeded to fast skate around the rink backwards. Like, I thought that was super dope. And it was really fun, and like skating felt like flying at that point. And I ended up having a conversation with my granddad as well. He's just like, yeah, I remember when them boys, like when we used to skate, like it was like, he's just like, for some reason when I started high school or just after high school I stopped, and it's probably because I started working more and I met like your grandmother. And anyway, roller skating is a beautiful heritage of black people. I just want to say that. Like, and I feel like I see it a lot. You see it a lot in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur on Disney, and I love it. So another thing I liked about February was discussing Parable of the Sower. We did something called Drop Everything and read some of the book together. But I think I just like discussing post-apocalyptic behavior because I think a lot of post-apocalyptic behavior will be influenced. It's influenced by what's before the apocalypse, right? So if we think about post-apocalyptic, think post-apocalyptic. Like, for me, I was just seeing notions of like how people were trying to reimagine their worlds and how so many people were taking white supremacy into that world. And it's like, you don't need to do that. But people either did or didn't realize that. Anyway, I also liked about February reading, walking, and praying. Lunar New Year, being able to like volunteer this year, that was so dope. That was so dope. So dope. And I got a shirt. What else? I just like Lunar New Year. It really brings people together. And like, I feel like I want to point out the way the year is always starting somewhere. Like in Nepal, I think in April, they have their New Year coming up. Diwali, that's November. The Colors festival that's coming up. I forgot what that's called. Let me look it up. Colors Festival. Festival of Colors is coming up. Holi. Like all these significant events signifying not just rebirth, but also it's an opportunity to remember life is beginning anew. Lock in. Anyway, and then the last thing I noted was like hosting Galentine's and making that a thing, because I feel like also we wait to be invited to stuff, and you don't have to wait to be invited. You can do the thing now and invite people to it. And I feel like Galentine's, there's always been someone that's invited, like, oh, I'm hosting. I'm like, I was just like, you know what, I'm hosting, and it's gonna be black. Like, anyway, so that was dope. I invited like people that I dance with, and it was so chill. We played a game, we ate pizza, we watched Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. We laughed a lot. Also cake decorating towards the end of the month, and then I also went to dinner with a friend, and I think that was legendary for me in the sense that like I've never, like, you know how people are like, let's go get dinner or something, like that actually happened, and it was me like inviting myself. Yeah. I noted here intentionality, breathing when it gets hard, and not being afraid to cry. I think these are the last things I want to leave out with. Not being afraid to cry, not being afraid to be angry or upset, but also being mindful that you don't project that. So like, white supremacy keeps telling us what is weak and what is strong, and I'm just affirming for myself that the vulnerability and allowing myself to grieve and allowing myself to let out what is inside in a way that does not harm other people, like especially when you're taking it out on others, that's a great example, but I think that can be beautiful and free others too. That's it. I got somewhere to be.